Hi everyone, it is Sam with the Avalon Center again. So we have made it to another Friday, so happy Friday. I am coming today to talk about a very tender, kind of sensitive subject, but I wanted to talk about sexual intimacy after a sexual assault or rape. And that is a very real struggle that anyone that has been a victim of something like that has to deal with. There's lots of things that can happen with that, lots of trauma, symptoms, and side effects that last for a very long time. Just getting through your day to day life after something like that has a lot of struggles, and especially whenever you're trying to create new relationships and be intimate with someone after something like that has happened, it can be incredibly difficult going forward with someone that is a victim of that. So, although it's not a super fun topic and it's not something easy for a lot of people to talk about, it's real and it's something that people absolutely have to deal with. So, nothing about rape or sexual assault is easy. And this is absolutely one of those things that it's not easy, but it's something that you face. So I wanted to talk about that and kind of some of the things that happen along with that after a rape or sexual assault. One can be avoiding sex in general. That is very common. It's very common to hear, I feel dirty. I feel like no one would want me after this has happened. I feel like you can just look at me and you know that this has happened to me, something like that, which is all just a symptom, just something that kind of happens, that you have to deal with after that, after the fact. Definitely not true, but it's something that you have to work around and heal from that part of it, as well as many others. Feeling distant and not even having desire for any intimacy like that, being very uncomfortable with anything like that happening, um, being triggered. Like, absolutely, that is something that everyone fears. And the biggest reason is maybe in our mind, we can pretend that this thing didn't happen. So, in our day to day life, we might completely shut that out and just pretend like this thing didn't happen to us. But the thing about triggers and trauma is that you don't get to decide what triggers you and what doesn't. It's not something that you can control. And definitely going back into sexual intimacy with someone after that, it's a fear that you could be triggered. It's a reality that you could be triggered by something. So, really, moving on from that, what really has to happen is that you have to know your body, you have to know yourself. You can find out, as you go, what little things, what it is that does trigger you, and kind of avoid those. Communicating with your partner, being very safe, feeling safe, knowing what will make you feel safe, and communicating that might also help. Um, However, another thing that kind of happens with victims of sexual assault or rape that can happen is that they are very hyperactive after something like that happens, to where in that moment you felt so helpless and you had no control, that it makes you feel safe and better by knowing that you're in control and I'm deciding to do this. So, and I have the control in this situation. So it's very common for victims to become very hyperactive after a sexual assault like that. So any of those are very common trauma symptoms of something like that happening. But the biggest thing is that healing takes time. It is not something that you can make happen as badly as you want to, as badly we wish that it was something that we could just snap our fingers, or you could, and it just happens and you're healed and you moved on from this. That is just not the way that it happens. It takes effort. Um, so there's certainly like some things that you can do to try to heal from that, and that's definitely somewhere where you can reach out to us and talk to an advocate, meet with an advocate, maybe after the coronavirus and COVID, whenever things go back to normal. meet with an advocate that has a plethora of things for you to try to heal and cope and work through things. But just a few are, listen to your body is a way to kind of go forward. Really try to get in touch with what does trigger you whenever you're triggered. Try to think about exactly what it was that caused you to be triggered so you can address that, avoid that, deal with that in whatever way that might works for you. Um, Also, finding a counselor or a therapist. That's obviously not something that we force on anyone. It's just an option because we are not just born with the tools to deal with such a traumatic event happening. It takes not only using coping skills, but it takes finding what coping skills actually work for you. And you know, we I know we talk about really often healthy versus unhealthy coping skills, sustainable versus unsustainable coping skills and things like that. It takes effort and it takes time to really find what's going to work for you and not rushing yourself, not feeling pressured to do something that you're not yet prepared for, not yet ready for. So, really kind of getting in touch with where you're at, what you're okay with, what you feel comfortable with, and a lot of communication and going from there. But that's very brief and very short. But again, if you have experienced something like this, then this is certainly something that you're going to face and you very well will have struggles with. Reach out to us. That's why we're here. Our confidentiality is always priority. If you've never reported, if you don't want anyone to know that this has ever happened to you, you can call us and your confidentiality will 100% be kept with us. Um, we can talk to you about anything that you would like to talk about, including coping skills and how to move forward and, how to really kind of get down um, to find out what it is that is triggering you, that is, makes you feel unsafe and all those things. So please just reach out to us. Again, thank you for listening, for following us and watching our videos and commenting and things and messaging us. As always, sexual assault is something that's very difficult to talk about, especially if you've not talked about it. Send us a Facebook message. Our confidentiality is kept just as strictly on those as they are with anything else. One of the first things somebody's probably going to talk to you about is how to make sure that it's confidential on your end if you're using like messaging like that. Um, Absolutely, there's ways for us to help you and to make sure that you feel comfortable. You're in control. We're never going to tell you what to do. We're just here to offer services and try to give you information. So nothing is ever going to be forced on you at any minute. It is just information that we're going to share with you. But absolutely, please reach out to us, and we appreciate everyone. And thank you for listening.